Good afternoon, people of God. Today, my topic is Abraham's life. Abraham's life has four main events. Number one, God's promise to Abraham. Number two, the three visitors. Number three, Abraham pleads for Sodom. And number four, Abraham's test of faith. Number one, God's promise to Abraham. Genesis 15, verse 5 to 6. God took Abram outside and said, "Look up at the sky and count the stars, if indeed you can count them." Then God said to Abram, "So shall your offspring be." Abram believed the Lord, and he credited it to him as righteousness. Why did God promise this to Abram? Because Abram was right in God's sight. Hebrews 11, verse 8. By faith, Abram, when called to go to a place he would later receive as his inheritance, obeyed and went, even though he did not know where he was going. So, it is not easy if God would call us to minister and in another place without direction. Would we have the same faith to God? Hebrews 11, verse 12. And so, from this one man, and he as good as dead, came descendants as numerous as stars in the sky and countless as the sand on the seashore. In everything we do, we need faith. Number two, the three visitors. Genesis 18, verse 10. Then one of the visitors said, "I will surely return to you about this time next year, and Sarah, your wife, will have a son." Sarah did not know that it was God in form of the three men. She laughed when one of them said that she would have a child. So, after the child was born, Abraham and Sarah named him Isaac. Why did they name him Isaac? Because Sarah laughed at God, and Isaac means laughter. Hebrews 11, verse 11. And by faith, even Sarah, who was past childbearing age, was enabled to bear children because she considered him faithful who had made the promise. We must have faith in God. Young or old, we must obey God. We must listen to God when He is speaking to us and obey His instructions. Number three, Abraham pleads for Sodom. Genesis 18, verse 32. Then Abram said, "May the Lord not be angry, but let me speak just once more. What if only 10 men can be found in Sodom?" God answered, "For the sake of 10 men, I will not destroy Sodom." Why did Abraham plead for Sodom? He was concerned about the people of God. And we should communicate with God through prayer and evangelize to the people who have not known God so they can be saved. God knew that Abraham was trying to save the people of Sodom. So, for the sake of 10 men, God will not destroy Sodom. But God did destroy Sodom soon enough because He did not find 10 men there. So, can God find 10 men in our ministry? So what are we waiting for? Let's start evangelizing today. Number 4, Abraham's test of faith. Genesis 22, verse 2. Then God said, "Take your son, your only son, whom you love, Isaac, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering to me on a mountain I will show you." What does God want Abraham to do? God wants Abraham to sacrifice his only son to him. It is not easy, but Abraham still did it. He had faith in God. That was God's will for Isaac, and Isaac will be with God. So Isaac did it. Conclusion. Number 1, Abraham believed in God, so God made his descendants as many as the stars. So if we have faith in God, God will give us blessings. Number 2, Abraham's faith was so strong that he was willing to give his only son to God. And even though it was hard, Abraham obeyed God. So we must be like Abraham. We must obey God in everything we do and have faith in Him. Number 3, we need faith in everything we do. That's what Abraham did. He just followed God, and even though that it was very hard for him to sacrifice his only son, he still did it because he knows that it was God's will. And number 4, we have to evangelize so that more people can be saved. We can start small, like evangelizing to our family so they can be saved. Thank you.